All right, it's time to rock and roll. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you everyone for spending your Wednesday lunch break with me. I hope you're gonna have fun. And I hope that you use the introduction slides to fix your coffees, your drinks, your food, and maybe visit the toilet. So let's dig straight in. This is the title of the presentation. It's called 50 plus tips and tricks. It's gonna be 53 exactly for a better life. And it's gonna be good, I promise. First, we would like to start with a few words from our sponsors. So basically, this webinar is hosted by Developers Bay. This is a network of IT professionals, which I'm part of. And then they were so kind to organize this whole setup and record this. And this recording will be also available on their YouTube channel shortly after this is done. So huge thanks to Developers Bay for making this happen. And also I want to highlight Maria. You've been with me through this whole process, guiding me how we can make this better. Yeah, thank you so much for doing that. And there is one thing, Moonwise, this is a company that together me and my wife started, but you're gonna hear a little bit more about Moonwise near the end of this webinar. So thank you, Developers Bay, thank you, Moonwise. Let's dig straight in. First, we're gonna start with a warm up. Ooh, this is how it looks. And the first tip that I can share with you is let your children style your presentations. So if something looks super fancy, this is because Luca did it. Luca is my son. He is an amazing artist. He's 9 years old and he helped me make this presentation. Like all the styling, all the fancy stuff that you're gonna see is thanks to him. And I know that adults, when they do their work things, when they do their presentation, they don't want children to touch, but I say, why not? It's much fun. It's much more fun when you can include your kids in this. So thank you, Luca. You're gonna see me on YouTube since you're in school now, but thank you so, so much for helping me put this presentation together. Number two, we go. Have fun. So in the next hour, we're gonna spend time together and you will hear some things you will already know, some things you don't know, and it will spark your curiosity. You will hear some funny things, but also you will hear things that will conflict so much with your existing worldviews that you will experience this pushback. You would not accept them. Don't be alarmed. That's perfectly fine. Feel free to dismiss whatever you don't like and only focus on the things you like. You cannot do everything all at once. Just cherry pick and choose. And remember the most important thing in the next hour, let's have fun. All right. Next one, train to breathe consciously every day. I cannot stress how much importance is this in your life. So on average, each and every one of us, we take about 20,000 breaths every day. But do you know how many of these are conscious? Like I'm consciously breathing right now. Have you counted? I would say not much out of those 20,000. So the breath is one of the most powerful tools that we have at our disposal that can control our emotional state. Our breath is controlled by our muscles, and just like any other muscle, you can train your breath and you can train to use your breath to modify your current state. So going forward, so we all sync up on the same emotion and we all align our expectations, I would ask you to spend few minutes, not few minutes, I guess it's seconds, doing a conscious breath together with me. So I would invite you to close your eyes. If you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes on a webinar, don't close your eyes. But let's try to do it like this. So let's close our eyes for a second. And then we're gonna breathe in slowly, 5-6 seconds maybe. Pause for a second or two, and then breathe out. Also 5-6 seconds, and pause. And we're gonna do 3 cycles. And we're all gonna syncing onto the same emotion. So let's do that. Let's start. Close your eyes, and then let's go. All right, that felt so good. And this is how you train it. There's not much more to it. You don't go to the gym to train your breath. Whatever you do, you can just take a second and then consciously breathe for a few seconds. Long breaths, pause, long exhales. It's perfect. It works wonders. If you invest in this, you will have so much of return of an investment. All right, this was the warm-up. We're all ready to go. Let's dig in. Next topic, working from home. All right. Now, accept that working from home is fundamentally different from working from office. At the beginning of this whole situation that we all had to work from home, there was this like tips and tricks about everyone sharing, like fake your commute and stuff like that. But I implore you not to do that. Understand that this is a situation that is completely different from what was considered normal before. So don't fake your commute. Don't feel pressure to clock in or clock out at any given times. Reply to messages or emails or Slack or whatever, only when you feel that you can give your full attention. Like don't do it when you are on the toilet or you're taking a short walk and stuff like that. And also don't ignore your family members. Like if you're in a household with more than one people, then these people are gonna have needs of their own. And if you focus too much on your work, you're gonna not pay attention to them and you're gonna ignore them. So don't do that. Take regular walks. Be mindful that other people are also experiencing the same situation as you. So be mindful of your colleagues and know that they're facing similar difficulties. Wear comfortable clothes. This is very important. A lot of people will tell you that clothes and how you look and how you present yourself are a powerful way to display status or wealth or power. You don't want to listen to these people. Real confidence comes from within. Instead of displaying fanciness, display your intellect, display your wisdom, display your humility. And then you can feel comfortable with yourself and you can wear comfortable clothes. Simple as that. Invest in a robot cleaner. So this is something that we did at the beginning of the working from home situation. It's tremendous because you're spending so much time in your home, then your home will get inevitably dirty. Every snack you do is gonna fall off to the floor and stuff. It's just so much easy to get like a robot cleaner. It's not that expensive, it's not that hard to set up, and it will just make your home looks so much cleaner. And there's one thing, it approximately takes 20 minutes, half an hour, depending on your layout and the size of your apartment. But this is a perfect opportunity while the robot is cleaning for you to take a walk. So double whammy. Don't iron, never iron. I don't know why people are spending time to iron their clothes. You really don't need to iron your clothes. You just need to fold them properly and then maybe buy materials that are not so easy to wrinkle. But if you do want materials that are easy to wrinkle, then unwrinkle your clothes while taking a hot shower. So you can see in this image, this is this like steamer that designers, or I don't know, people who use steamers are using to unwrinkle. It's the same setup, you just don't need the machine. You can just take a very hot shower, hang in the clothes on your bathroom door, and then by the time you're done, they will be unwrinkled. More or less, you'll see. Almost never wash jeans. Like jeans are such a material that they don't need constant washing. I remember that I spent so much time, probably on every washing machine load that I was doing, I was putting the jeans that I wear those weeks. You don't need to do that. Maybe once in every few months, jeans needs washing, or if they have like a very, I don't know if you spilled your coffee on them or something like that. Otherwise, they're perfectly fine. They're made for that to be, I mean, they're used by farmers, right? All right. Prep your food in small increments. This is a very interesting trick that I learned while working from home. So basically, if you have these apps or you have this thing to remind yourself every 1 hour to kind of like get up of your seat, take a walk around, well, you can use this like 5-10 minutes of you walking around and not being in front of the computer to actually prep your food. So you can take like carrots, cut them, then the next hour you take bell peppers, cut them and stuff like that. So you can use the breaks that you're taking from your everyday work to kind of like prep your next meal. Very fancy. All right, we are going to the kitchen. Kitchen is like the room of my apartment that I spend most time in. I love cooking. This is like a huge part of my life. And I would like to give you some tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years that will make you a much better person inside the kitchen. All right. Put a towel under the cutting board. This is like a very basic trick that you can do, but any towel works. Cloth towel, paper towel, wet towel, dry towel. Maybe wet will work being better than dry towel. But if you put it under your cutting board, then you will prevent slipping and moving around. And this will make you a little bit more confident when you're cutting and chopping, that you will not chop off your finger. While we're at the topic of chopping off your fingers, sharpen your knives. You really just need this rod, metal rod or ceramic rod. You don't need any fancy sharpeners or I don't know, special tools or whatever. You just need to sharpen your knives. Believe me, it will make your life so much easier if you have sharp knives. Yes, and also you might learn some tough lessons if you cut your fingers along the way. While we are on the topic of knives, grip your knives properly. So on the top picture, you will see how you can hold a chef's knife. This doesn't work on all knives, but it works with like knives that look like this. So basically, if you put your thumb and index finger on the blade, you will get a lot more precision. If you grab it by the handle, you will get a lot of strength, but then it's easier to move around and hurt yourself. If you grab it by the blade, then you have like a finer control, and then you can do these fancy circular motions that the chefs are doing. It's so much easier if you grip it like that. Cut and freeze. This is a thing that I'm using all the time. So there are certain vegetables that are perfectly fine for you to freeze. So sometimes I just buy things in bulk, for example, celery. And I don't want it to be, because you don't use it so much, right? I don't want it to take space in my normal fridge. So I just basically cut it and put it in the freezer. And then every time I need to make a soup or a dish or something like that, you just get a little bit of things. You can also use the prep your food trick for this as well. So basically, if you have a lot of vegetables that don't know what to do, you can just slice them, dice them, put them in the freezer, use them whatever you want. All right, slice your avocado before scooping. I guess you know this trick already if you're eating a lot of avocados, but it's so much easier to cut or slice or dice the avocado wherever you want before you scoop it out of the shell. So yeah, you can just do this with a knife. You can do the opposite, so you can get like cubes and stuff like that. And then it's like so much easier to scoop it already pre-sliced, no mess whatsoever. You don't really need even a spoon to do the scooping. You can just like press the peel, and if the avocado is ripe enough, it will just pop off immediately. Very cool trick. Steam your veggies with a strainer. So if you don't have this like fancy Adam on your pots, you can just use any strainer. You can cook pasta, you can cook rice, whatever you're cooking that needs boiling, just put a strainer and then toss some veggies on top, cover it with lid. By the time the pasta or rice is done, your veggies will be done as well. Super easy. Soak your baking paper. This is very neat trick. So every time I get like a new sheet of baking paper or parchment paper, or how do you call them, it's always hard for me to kind of like put it on the tray, and then it like rolls back and stuff. So what you can do is just like open your tap and then soak it a little bit, and then you can crumple it. You can make it in a little bowl. And make sure you soak it properly with water, and then it's so much easier. You can like lay it flat, and it will not change much. So it's just easier. All right, now we have a video. I hope this thing works. And open spaghetti like a pro. This is a trick that I learned. So little did you know about me, but I was a prep cook in New Jersey in a seafood restaurant back in the days, probably 10 years ago. So I was working for the summer, doing a lot of food preparations and cooking a lot of stuff. I learned a few tricks. This is one of the best tricks. I wouldn't say that it's too much practical in your everyday life, but it's a great conversation starter. And also it's a great trick to show to your friends. Let me just try to play the video. I hope you can see it.
Hey everyone, I'm going to show you today how I open a packet of spaghetti. So all I have is just a standard packet of spaghetti, and it's sealed on both ends, and this is what you do. There you go. This spaghetti packet.
So easy. Neat trick. It doesn't work with every with every spaghetti though. It really depends on the packaging, but most of them you can just grip them loosely, hit it from the table, easy open. All right. Yeah, place utensils in pans handle. So you have this little thing for the pans, so you can stuff them in. This hole can be pretty much used to put your spoons or utensils or whatever you don't want to, that has like sauce on it. So you don't want to place it somewhere that it will make some stains. So just place it like on the picture, pretty easy. All right, going next. Do not peel garlic when using press. This is, I was mind blown when I discovered this. So we used quite a lot of garlic in our cooking, and it's like such a drag to peel the garlic properly. I mean, there are some tricks. You can like press it with your knife or press it with something else. So it's a little bit easier for the skin to come off, but really you don't need to do this when you're using a garlic press. So just put the whole thing in together with the skin, press it, all the garlic will come out and the skin will be left there, and it's so much easy just to pick it up from the press. Lifesaver. All right, now next trick. If there are Italians watching or some people that are very, very particular about their pasta, they're gonna hate me for this, but there's a quick tip about cooking pasta in a frying pan. So instead of like boiling the whole thing, you can just put it there. You can put some water so it boils, and you can put the sauce immediately. A side effect of this is gonna get a little bit starchy because the starch will not be thrown out with the boiling water, but it's a super, super easy way to make one pot dishes, or how they call them. And it's really delicious. I mean, unless you're really picky about your pasta, this is a very nice life-saving trick in the kitchen. All right, invest in cast iron cookware. So a few years, maybe a year or two ago, probably 2 years ago, we invested in iron cookware. They're extremely heavy, but the good thing about them is they get better with every usage. It's kind of like there's like mechanic to it. Once you cook the oil, some polymers are being formed and they are filling in the gaps between the iron. And then after a while, it makes this surface so smooth that it's non-sticky at all. Yeah, it's just like such a nice thing. Like they're indestructible. Like you can literally like do this with a knife, or you don't need to worry about scratching the surface or adding oil after a while. And if you buy them from the store, it might take you a while for this to settle. So you might need to invest into learning how you properly take care of cast iron. However, you can buy them secondhand. You can buy pre-used. So somebody already did all this setup, and you just get this extremely heavy pan that you can start using immediately. And it's changed my life and how I approach food. It's so much easy because they retain heat so much. You can use them for serving as well. And because they're pretty much indestructible, you can just use utensils to eat out of them. So good investment, I would say. Check it out. All right, general tips and tricks. Now we're gonna go into a bit more heavier topics. Let's see how that works. All right, learn to say no. Super, super, super important thing that you can learn in life, saying no. You only have 100% of your time. You don't have 120%, you don't have 200%. Invest into understanding your capacity and then fill up your capacity to 100%. Everything goes on top of that, you say no. Be kind to yourself, because if you say yes, then other things will suffer. So value yourself, value your time, and be assertive. Draw the line. This is what I can do. This is what I cannot do. Everything else above that is no. And say farewell to people who don't respect that, who don't respect your time. Very, very important. Next step, pee in the shower. Best advice ever. Save water, save the environment, save yourself time, pee in the shower. Give attention. All right, very simple thing, but let's dive a little bit deeper. I think that attention is the most valuable resource that you possess. The attention can be seen as this like beam of light, maybe analogous to the picture that I said, that illuminates the darkness, right? The unknown. So everywhere we turn or point our attention to, the darkness lifts and you can see a little bit clearly. So give your attention to your kids, give your attention to your partner, to your coworkers, to your hobbies, to your interests, to your curiosities, to yourself. Things start growing when you give their attention. So if you want something to become better, successful, just focus your attention. Give your attention to everyone sparsely and yourself included. All right. Ask for more. I have a theory that for every deal that you have made ever in your life, you can get at least 50% more. So when you're presented with something, feel free to ask for more. When you're given an offer for a job, ask for more. When you're giving something, ask for more. You can renegotiate some of the contracts that you have with your cell phone operators. You can just, I know this happened with Tre. I had this like agreement. I called them, I was like, I want to switch, this is too much. They're like, oh, but we want to keep you as a customer. Can we give you this discount and stuff like that? So just go through everything that you already have and probably you can have more. But you will never have more if you don't ask for more. Ask for more. All right. Do a personality test. This is super interesting and maybe not so super important, but super interesting. So if you zoom close enough in life, in people, then we are all unique. We don't share traits. If you zoom far enough, then we are all the same. We come from the same things, right? But if you're in the middle, if you zoom somewhere in the middle, you will see that certain people have certain traits. Now, you may hate this type of personality test. You may think that they're inaccurate or they don't represent yourself very clearly or in a decent manner. But know that the algorithms that run the world, that run social media especially, use these classifications to put you in a bucket. And when they put you in a bucket, they can serve you content that you are more willing to consume. And if you do this, it's easier for them to kind of like get your attention or trap you into their platform or do something like this. So I think that by understanding to what broad group you belong to, you will understand your strengths and weaknesses. And it will make it a little bit harder for people or machines to kind of like exploit this for profit. So just out of curiosity, do a personality test. All right. Try no poo. Do you know what no poo is? It's a crazy thing that I learned. So look at my hair. I haven't washed it in months. So there hasn't been anything on my hair except for water for the past few months. And if you look at this photo, this is my beautiful wife, Ivy, and this is her hair. If you think that like short hair is easier not to do, take a look at her long hair. She introduced me to this new no poo movement. It means no shampoo, not what you're thinking. And she stopped washing her hair months ago, and it's not greasy, it's not dry, you don't have dandruff, it doesn't smell. It's such an amazing thing that I was not aware of. I was always taught that like I need to put this like shampoos and conditioners and this and masks and that on our hair to look, but your body is so good at regulating, and this extends not just your hair. The face, I haven't washed my face with anything but water in, I don't know, years maybe. I think that the only thing I put ever in my life on my face was sunscreen. You can do for the rest of your body. So it might not work for everyone. It really depends on there's a lot of variables. I don't know, the place you live, how much you have dust and stuff like that, but definitely is something worth trying. There is like a 3-4 weeks period of adjustments, but afterward, you're just saying goodbye to all the chemistry that you put in your hair. So much easier. All right, good stuff. She nodded. She said like, yes, that's the message I want to send. All right, all right. Woo. Act in accordance to the future you want to see. This requires a little bit of explanation. But if you want the world to become more sustainable, then change your purchasing habits today. Instead of buying a diesel car, you can buy an electric car or a hybrid car or stuff like that, right? If you want to, I don't know, to see a better approach to architecture and sustainability, then just start buying ecological products and buy from local farmers markets and stuff like that. Don't buy mass-produced foods from supermarkets. It's that easy. If you want the world to become more honest, then stop lying right now, right? So mindsets or trends in the world, they don't just magically shift. They shift when people adopt new ideas. So do not see the world as it is now, right? Do not exploit its weaknesses and further your agendas, but like imagine it as a better world and then start acting like that today. Act in accordance to the future you want to see. Mindset. This is how the whole capitalism is based on this, like this infinite growth. So I would want you to use this mindset, right? To invest into the ideas that you believe in. And this is not just about money. You invest everything. You invest with your time, with your support, with your attention, with your knowledge, or with your experience. So if you see someone that you can help by investing yourself into them, do this. Both of you will be happier in the future. All right. Stop being poor. This is one of my most favorite images on the internet. It changed the way how I look and think on the world. This is Paris Hilton wearing a Stop Being Poor t-shirt. But I'm not talking about material wealth. I'm talking about poor versus rich mindset. A poor person is the one who thinks that you get wealthier by taking, by acquiring, by hoarding. Rich person is one who knows that you can only get back if you give first. So stop being poor, be rich, give to everyone that needs, to everyone you can. Be mindful of your time, of course, but stop being poor. Cool stuff. All right, are we right on time? Let me check. Yes, perfect. We go to wellness now. So this is something that I'm super invested in. I changed my life tremendously just by focusing on few simple things. And I hope that you can learn a thing or two from my experience going forward. Walk whatever possible. I cannot stress this enough. Walk to work, walk to school, walk up the stairs, walk in nature, walk after dinner, walk before making a decision. Every time that you want to change your physical location in the world, try walking first, right? Obviously, it's not always possible, but this should be the default. Walk. Why? Our bodies are designed to walk. Our skin breathes. Our spine is curved in such a way that will enable us this bipedal movement. And humans got to their point in time and space because of these adaptations. We can pretty much outpace any animal. So our ancestors that's involved in the plains of Africa use this thing. They could just like walk and run days at a time, and eventually the animals will get tired and they will be easy for us to kill them and consume for energy, right? Because they don't have these adaptations on our skin. So our body is designed for walking. The more you walk, the more you're in tune with your nature and the better you will feel. So walk everywhere. All right, exercise. I have, not everyone will agree, but I think that the only exercise you really need is walking and stretching. Like everything else that you do is an extra. If you like sports, if you like working out, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead and do it. But to be healthy, you just really need a little bit of stretching and then constant walking, right? Or continuous walking. And then, yeah, that's all I have to share. You don't have to overdo it. You just need to, yeah, you just need to get in tuned. Get proper sleep. This is insane. I think that I wasted my whole 20s in not having, not wasted, but I spent my whole 20s not having a proper sleep. So it's super important. You are doing this for like 1/4 or 1/3 of your life. You're gonna sleep, right? So you really need to make this proper. Everything will get better if you get your sleep in order. I promise you that. So one thing that is super important is that you go to sleep every day at the same time. Like, I know that the modern world is structured in work days versus weekends. but this is completely not in tune with your nature. So try to go to sleep every day at the same time. I know for younger people, this is a little bit harder because the social life kind of like depends on this. But who people who kind of like stabilized or getting a little bit old, then this is super, super important. Sleep in a colder room, so the temperature needs to be a little below the normal. It's so much easier to fall asleep and stay asleep. Get a comfortable bed, super, super important. Like if you have a crappy bed, your sleep will be crappy as well. So this is one of the best investments that you can do. Get yourself a nice bed. They last for a very long time. You're not going to buy a bed every other month. Avoid foods and drinks before going to bed, at least an hour, probably more if you can do it. And then try to not have any devices in the room that you're sleeping. Or use any devices at least half an hour before the sleep. So if you do this, you will feel so much better. You will wake up rested, rejuvenated, and ready to take on new challenges. All right, avoid added sugar. Oh my God, refined sugar is one of the most dangerous villains humanity has ever faced. I cannot, I mean, obesity, diabetes, nerve degenerative diseases, increased mortality rates on all fields are linked to continuous sugar consumption. You know what's what's happening. You know this already, and then it's so hard to avoid added sugar. Like I don't mean added sugar like I'm putting sugar in my coffee. If you do that, stop it immediately. But if you buy, I don't know, ketchup, senap, or mustard, like salad dressings, pastries, canned foods, pickled food, all of these food that you can buy as a prepackaged in your local store market, they have tons of added sugar. Be smart. Try to start reading labels. You really don't need this added sugar in your everyday life. You'll be so much healthier if you just avoid this. A Sweden-specific tip. So I don't know if all the markets have this, but Sweden has this green keyhole. So you can see like next to the product. Basically, this is a marking that is in the Nordics. And this says that from the products in the same category, and this is only for packaged goods, the ones that with the green keyhole are your best options. They don't have added salt, they don't have added sugar. They are as natural as possible that a packaged food can be. So if you're buying something, always look for the green keyhole. Super important. Drink only water and maybe some coffee or tea if you're into that. So this means no alcohol, no sodas, no juices, no protein shakes, and no smoothies. So yes, I've said it, no smoothies. I know that smoothies are a thing, and they're actually a good way to get your daily doses of vitamins, minerals, and traces. However, it's my personal belief that healthy adults should not rely on pre-processed liquids for proper nutrition. Adults should have their food otherwise. So try to drink only water. Everything else is extra. You don't need it. Discover the power of fasting for attaining elevated states of clarity. This is a hot topic. So intermittent fasting, you can go easy, you can go hardcore with this. It's a very flexible system, but fasting is something that is a major part of every religion and every spiritual journey. And it's there for a reason, because fasting can greatly enhance the way you think and feel. If you tried fasting, then you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't tried fasting, go for it. And I'm talking about increased mental focus, decreased attention to bodily needs and urges like thirst or hunger or sexual desires or whatever. So it's just like you get this superpower in your head when your body is not preoccupied with consuming and processing nutrients. It's just such a mind clarity. So full disclosure, I've been doing OMAD, and this is 1 meal a day together with my wife for over 2 years now, 2.5 years, right? This means that we only eat once a day. It profoundly changed my life. It changed my whole relationships that I have with food, how I approach food, why do I eat food, why do I eat fancy food and stuff like that, and how do I use food to actually conserve my culture. Also, how do I use food to actually interact with people and socialize, right? I wouldn't recommend it to everyone, especially, so fasting you can try in a milder form, but for one meal a day, I definitely cannot recommend for everyone. It requires a little bit of setup, a little bit of planning, and it requires a decent understanding of micro and micronutrients. No, macronutrients. You get me. Yeah, words. If not done properly, this can cause a lot of damage and malnourishment. But if done properly, it's like this superpower that you're obtaining. So try fasting. It's really, really good. At the end of this session, we're going to leave some time for a discussion. So we're going to cover a lot of different topics. If you have any question, maybe you can write it in the Zoom chat. And then it's like an optional session of Q&A afterwards. Whoever wants to attend, and maybe we can address certain things. Or yeah, I just wanted you to know that we're going to have that. I forgot to mention in the beginning. Whew, all right. Am I fast enough going forward? Consume whole food. Super, super important. Another superpower that you can gain. So if you stop eating at restaurants, if you stop eating food that has been pre-cooked for you from people you don't know, and if you stopped eating prepackaged food, what is left is whole food. So basically you just go to the fruits and vegetables section of your local market or supermarket or whatever it is, and then you just buy things like they are. This means that when you come home, you can chop them, you can dice them, you can bake them, you can fry them, you can boil them with a total control. So someone else is not doing for you. An industrialized process is not doing this for you. So you can know how much salt are you adding, you can know how much stuff are you adding, you can know how much additives you're adding, and then you will establish a relationship with food. You will know what goes well, how much time do you need to cook this versus this and stuff like that. You will just learn so much about food preparation if you buy and consume whole foods. You can prepare them anything you like, and then you will, with this relationship, you will nourish yourself instead of someone else doing the math for you. It's really something that you don't want to outsource. You really want total control of your food inside your home and inside your kitchen. Woo! All right, consider plant-based diet. I know there is like a trend to avoid some certain words. So instead of secondhand, we use like pre-loved. Instead of vegan, we use plant-based. But don't get too caught up on words. The idea is that if you do a proper plant-based diet, it will be healthier for you. It will be better for the environment, and it will be more sustainable and considerate towards the animals. You don't have to go vegan militant, right? You don't have to protest. You don't have to show people of slaughterhouses or how industrial farming is hurting the environment and all that stuff. You can just take small steps into small mindful changes to consume less meat, less dairy, and less other animal products in your life that are not for consuming, but for maybe wearing, or I don't know, pillows and whatnot. And see this where this take you. It's really, really something that I believe that every adult that wants to see a better future should definitely consider. And then in your journey of consuming less animal products, you will discover that there are many, many things holding you back. Your culture, your taste buds, but all of that can change if you are willing to invest a little bit in that. So please consider plant-based diet. Unsubscribe. Super, super, super important. Unsubscribe from attention-seeking algorithms and automations. I don't know if you saw the latest documentary on Netflix, The Social Dilemma, but basically there are machines and there are algorithms and there is like artificial intelligence that has a goal of making you spend more time and focus more of your attention towards them instead of things that I personally believe matter most. So newsletters, social media feeds, push notifications are like competing for your attention. They want to get your attention, so you're staring at them and you're not staring at your family, you're not staring at your kids, you're not staring at your friends, you're not spending their attention to things that matter. And the person who matters most to you is ultimately yourself. So please unsubscribe of unrelevant things that are to you, something that you've maybe subscribed some years ago or something like that. Just turn off the notifications, set up do not disturb mode, be healthy in the way you consume online content, because we need all the weapons we can get in the battle of an intelligence that has a lot of data and can make a lot of smart moves of how to grab your attention. So unsubscribe. All right. This is second to last topic that we're going to cover today, and this is relationships. Super, super, super important. I think not just personal wellness and personal well-being, but how do we act in a collective? Family first. I cannot stress this rule enough. Family always comes first. I don't mean your blood relatives, but I mean your partner, I mean your children, I mean your parents, and your close friends. So this is something that you would consider as a family. The biggest investment you can do in your life is to put them in front of every other egoistic or worldly goal that you're pursuing for yourself. Not your career, not your knowledge, not your progress, not money, nothing. Family comes first. It also makes sense from not just from an evolutionary perspective, because we've evolved to be a social species, but it also makes from a mathematical point of view. This is the best investment that you can get, because that's how we live in communities. And when we live in a community, their struggle is your own struggle. Their happiness is your happiness as well. So if you invest in your family and you put them first, then you're just gonna get this resonance of happiness if they do well. Not just by yourself, we are a community, family first. All right, a trick that I learned. So have retros with your partner. This is crazy. So I think that every other week, right? Or every 3 weeks, or I don't know, most of the people I would assume that they're watching this webinar into IT or something. This is just what my network is. And then we do this retros regularly, where we take the time to look back of what happened, what we learned, what went well, what can be improved. And this is a super useful tool in the workplace. Why just not use it with every other person? So just do it with your partner. Like sit down, have a cup of coffee and say like, okay, what happened? What are we doing wrong? Can we improve, right? If you're honest, if you really, really want to invest in that relationship, this will be the most powerful tool that you can utilize. And just like as your team or your organization scales up, your partnership, your marriage, your family will scale up if you just use retros with them. Connect with non-humans. This is so insane. We have this feeling that we're like on the top of some pyramid as this human species, and then everything else we just cannot relate to. But this is not true. The only thing that other life is not capable of, and this is as far as we know, so probably I might be wrong, but the only thing that differentiates from the rest is that we have these higher brain functions like abstract thought and language, right? Everything else is shared. Like we came from the same little thing so many million years ago, right? And then we all share these same traits with animals, not just animals, but plants and everything that can be considered life. And they can feel and they can experience pretty much similar to what we can. They can experience time, they can experience space, gravity, they have fears, they have curiosities, they have happiness, they can feel happiness, they can feel love, right? So this is probably the most easiest to connect with dogs, I would say, because the range of emotions is pretty similar, but this goes for everything. This goes for like plants and trees. You can connect with a life that is not human. I think that is the most interesting investment that you can do in your life, connecting with non-humans. Do it. Why not? It's super easy. All right, a trick. If you want to build a relationship with someone, borrow a book from them. It's one of the greatest things I've ever learned. That I did this first, I think, with my boss 3-4 years ago. So I just said like, hey, is there any book that you read that kind of like changed your whole worldview that you can borrow to me so it will change my worldview as well? And this is like the best trick that you can do. First, you're going to learn a lot of things because you're going to read something that you didn't know before. Then you're going to take care of an item for another person. So it will not be like, I'm going to spill coffee over it. You will be a little bit more conscious. And then while you are reading this, this book, you will learn something about them. And you'll have probably months of time frame that you can actually connect with these people and discuss these topics. It's the best thing. Express gratitude. Express gratitude and express genuine interest. This is super important. Being grateful is not the same as being polite. So politeness is something that you learn. It's like a skill that aids your social interaction, so other people don't perceive you as a weirdo, right? But gratitude is something more purposeful. It's like an appreciation of an experience. So pick a person that you interact with, observe their action, understand their emotions, and then at the end of the day, just say how much you appreciate the way they acted or the way they did something or the way they help you. It will form a strong bond with you in no time. Super important. Bow the head below the heart. This is one of the things I learned from Adrienne. Adrienne is my YouTube yoga teacher. I don't know if you know her, but she is the best. And the reality that we have in our head exists only inside your head. It does not exist anywhere outside it. It's unique to you. It's unique to yourself. But the emotions that exist in your heart are universal, as we said with the example of the non-humans. So instead of connecting with your mind, try to connect with your heart. And this is super important if you try to establish a relationship with someone who is not your peer. With your peers, it's very easy to interact with your mind because you have similar mindsets. But with children or with parents, older people, it's much, much easier to interact with feelings instead of thoughts. So bowing your head below the heart means that I'm gonna lead with the heart first, right? I'm gonna try to connect you through my heart. Super important, super efficient. All right, last topic for the day. Spirituality. At some point, once you did all these simple tricks like automating your life, easy stuff in the kitchen, and like free up some time of your day, either by fasting or something like that, you will get some extra time that you can spend to invest into spirituality. So if you did all of these previous things right, at some point you'll get curious about spirituality. So let's dig deeper. Tell the truth. This is probably the simplest advice I can give, and also it's one of the hardest advice to follow. So it's simultaneously the costliest thing that you can do, but also it's the most liberating thing that you will ever experience. So you can lose comfort by telling the truth. It can cost you your job, it can cost you your friendships, it can cost you your relationships, but in turn, it will break the chains that imprison you to be in places you don't want to be and hanging out with people you don't want to hang out with. So be honest, and then deal with the honesty. The world will start to change once you start telling the truth. Forgive yourself and forgive others. So all of us, inside of us, we have this pain, we have this hurt, anger, resentment, fear, everything that is inside, doubts, right? And the longer we hold on to these feelings, the heavier they get and the deeper they get buried inside of us, right? So if you don't forgive, if you don't attend to these feelings, they will inevitably break us. They will break us, regardless of how strong you are. So we should not become stronger so we can carry more load on our shoulders. Instead, we should become lighter so we can enjoy life more easily and more naturally and in a more profound way. And the only way to become lighter, to get rid of these fears, to get rid of this anger, to get rid of this resentment, is to forgive. So forgive everyone who did wrong to you accidentally or unintentionally, right? And most importantly, forgive yourself because you did wrong as well. Everyone did wrong. But the good thing is we can make right when we forgive. Forgive yourself and forgive others. Meditate. All right. Another interesting tool. And I think that there are many definitions of meditations, but I'm going to share mine, or at least the current one. I have also many definitions of meditation. So meditation is a tool that will enable you to connect to your inner self, right? It's like an amplification tool that you can use, and it will enhance every emotion and every connection that you have in your life. So this is both good and bad. A person that wants to do good, when they meditate, they will do better. A person that wants to do bad, they will do worse when they meditate. So whatever your destination might be, a meditation is something that will get you there faster. So if you have pure intention, if you have good intentions, then meditating will amplify those, and it will be felt not just inside you, but with the people around you as well. Pray. All right. This is something very interesting. So as you know, I'm an engineer. Maybe you don't know. I don't know. I didn't introduce myself, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm an engineer, and I was always taught to be this like scientific atheist throughout my life. I was trained to do this. And when I look at prayer, I saw it something that a religious person does. Like I didn't understand prayer. But lately I spent some time thinking about what prayer is. And prayer is not something that you're asking a deity to fix all your problems. It's kind of like a time that you can spend envisioning a better world. It's like if you can imagine an abundant future with less injustice, with less suffering, with less inequality, then this is prayer. This is the time you spend that you envision such future. And by spending this time, you start to understand the struggles that others are having with this. People who are suffering, people who have been wronged, and people who are not as equal as other people, right? And you wish well for them. You wish well for them. You wish them to this thing to change. And when you do this on a regular basis, it becomes a part of you. You become an avatar of these prayers, and you start to manifest them in your everyday life as well. So don't see as something prayer as a religious person would do. Prayer is this tool that will help you manifest a better world. It's really, really nice. All right, second to last, find God. Very, very interesting. So in this earthly existence, we got only one chance. This is the only life we get as far as we know. We're not yet immortal. And we have this unique chance to seek and to find something that is greater than ourselves. But not just greater than ourselves, greater as ourselves as individuals, but greater as a collective, right? So whatever the word God means to you, dedicate some time to find it. I think it will give your life a purpose, a bigger purpose, something that is bigger than us and bigger than our collective. All right, last thing for today. We had very, very short time to discuss these things. And there are a lot of topics. You can dive really deeper into this, but you need to understand that real change requires time, effort, and support. Your life is not going to magically change because you listen to me talking about, I don't know, life trips, and then you download a guided meditation app, and then you pee in the shower. Your life is not gonna change that. Real change comes from all the cumulative effect of all the small changes and tweaks that you introduce in your life over time. And they're unique to you. The things that work for me does not mean that they will work for you. You really need to experiment, and you really need to understand, and you really need to research, and you really need to observe what are the things that are working for you. And understand that they will require time to manifest, right? And it will require conscious and constant effort. And I think that the last thing I want to say is that the most important change in your life, they require proper support. people who've walked the path, people who faced the difficulties, and people who overcame the obstacles. You need this in your life to make a meaningful change as well. As we said, we're not individuals, we're a collective. We can help each other, right? And with this being said, I like to extend our support. This is our email address. As I said, I'm going to talk about Moonwise at the end. So Medo at Moonwise is me. Ivy and Moonwise is my wife. And this is what we decided to start a company for. This is what Moonwise stands for, and that is offering support to people who want to become better. And we can do this by sharing the things that we learned over years and creating a network of supportive, smart, intelligent people that want to do better in their life. So if you want to deepen the conversation that we had today on any topic, like cutting boards, peeing in the shower, finding God, whatever, right? Just send us an email and we'll try our best to reply promptly. There are no charges. There are no hidden fees. There are no expectations or obligations whatsoever. This is not a masterclass. I'm not trying to sell you my program, right? This is just us practicing what we preach. We pray every day for a more mindful and a more connected world. And this is just us acting on that future. So thank you so much for today. Thank you, Developers Bay, again, for this amazing opportunity and enabling me to share my thoughts. Thank you for joining and showing your interest and for listening. I'm gonna go once more until this thing so you can have it in mind. And yeah, that's all I had to say. Thank you so much. And if you wanna unmute yourself and continue the conversation, feel free to do so. I guess I'll have half an hour more to be with you. And if you have some other things to do, then I wish you have an amazing day. Thank you. You can unmute and give me an applause.
Good job.
Engagement.
Don't do the pasta. It's heresy. It's easier, it's faster, but it's not nearly as good.
All right. Ooh. Are you muted? Let's see where we are. Oh, there's a lot of chat messages.
Stop.
Oh, Maria. Thank you for providing us support in the chat. I'm just seeing this. Okay, so there's one question that maybe I can answer. So what exactly do you eat this one meal a day? Basically, it should be something that has around 2,000 calories. So it's a big, big meal. It took us a little bit of time to adjust our bellies because we were not used to eating so much food. And especially it's harder. So we were not vegans when we started this. So at the beginning, it was much easier because meat and dairy are just more nutrient dense. So you don't have to eat that much to fill up the quota. But then when we switched to vegan, we had a little bit of difficulties adjusting. It's just like, so you get like very bloated. So recently we've been trying to experiment, maybe not be so strict with one meal a day and maybe eat within 4 or 5 hour window. So just we have time to process. But basically it's the whole day of food condensed into one meal. So whatever you eat for breakfast, lunch and dinner is just like put together. For us, it's mainly like we have a salad, we have a soup, we have the main meal, and we might have some dessert afterwards. And over time, you kind of like get a feeling what about 2,000 calories. Worth noting that we lost a lot of weight as well, because in the beginning, it's really, really difficult to meet your quota. So some people use fasting as a very nice way to lose weight. But over time, this stabilizes. So probably you experience a greater weight loss in the first few months, and then afterwards, your body kind of like adapts. And yeah, And then you can just go lower with the calories as well. Maybe you can, after a while, you'll get by with 1,500, 1,800 and stuff like that. Yeah, and I will just go through the chat. Yes, and then don't worry about missing these things. All of this will be available at YouTube on the Developers Bay YouTube channel. So you'll get a chance to kind of like revisit these things. And as I said, drop a question for everything that we just discussed. We are more interested in talking more. And this is not the final, this is not our final form, as we're saying. We are learning a lot of things on the way. We're doing like small tweaks and changes. Not every experiment that we've done in these past few years is, was a success, but I guess you learn most from your failures. Cool. Any other questions? Then thank you, beautiful people, for this amazing time. I hope we connect and we stay in touch. We are very easy to find on the social media. Connect us on every platform that you want. We're open for conversation, and have an amazing day. Thank you again for joining. Bye-bye. Honey, you want to say bye? Bye. Bye-bye. You are a huge inspiration. Show your face.
My unwashed hair.
Bye-bye. Okay, how do I turn this off? Stop share. And then